What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Tuesday, October 22nd, 2024, and I have an emergency alert to share with you guys. Right now it is 13:05 Eastern Time here in the United States, and I wanted to update you on the situation in the Middle East, Asia, and Europe. We're continuing to see escalation on all of these fronts. And today, this afternoon, we have U.S. nuclear forces on very high alert again. Last night, there were multiple nuclear attack options broadcasted right around 10 p.m. Eastern Time. That's 2200 Eastern Time. And right now, we have more nuclear attack options being broadcasted. We also had several over-the-horizon radars broadcasting last night. So these over-the-horizon radars are used for detecting the launch of ICBMs by various countries. Most likely they were Russian over-the-horizon radars. There were as many as 3 of them turned on at the same time during this unusual flurry of nuclear attack options right around 2200 hours Eastern Time. We currently have 2 U.S. nuclear war command and control planes up in the air, and we also had a presidential doomsday plane fly from Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, considered the Area 51 of the East Coast in Ohio, and it went to Offutt Air Base, and then it went back to Wright-Patterson. So there was some kind of a VIP movement earlier today in the morning from Dayton, Ohio, Wright-Patterson Air Force Base to Offutt Air Base, and then back to Wright-Patterson. So here we have one of the nuclear war command and control planes off the coast of California. It's probably transmitting messages to our nuclear-armed submarines. Here we have another one over Kansas. We also have this nuke sniffer plane here over northern Arkansas. These planes can detect radiation in the atmosphere, and it's actually getting aerially refueled by a KC-135 Stratotanker, which is very unusual for a nuke sniffer, especially over the continental United States. So something's definitely brewing. And then here we have that doomsday plane. You can see it took off from Dayton, Ohio, went to Stratcom headquarters. There's a bunker there in Omaha, Nebraska, and then back to Wright-Patterson. So it could have been Lloyd Austin, could have been Biden, could have been Kamala Harris, could have been one of the Joint Chiefs. It's hard to say, but something is definitely going on. We have EAMs, nuclear attack options, broadcasting right now. They are broadcasting on my 24/7 live stream. If you ever want to listen and get the latest information, check out my 24/7 live streams. I have the nuclear attack options piped into the stream. I have my own radio with a 400-foot antenna, so I can pick these messages up from various countries. And we also have a lot of sub-hunter activity off the coast of Florida. I've never seen anything like this before. We have 5 P-8 Poseidon sub-hunters off the coast of Florida. We have 1 flying low off of Tampa in the Gulf. We have 3 over here near the Bahamas. Check this out. Then we have 1 that went down to the Everglades and turned around and came back. So there could potentially be some Russian sub activity here off the coast of Florida, potentially Russian nuclear-armed submarines or ballistic missile submarines that are getting into position to strike the United States in the event of some kind of an escalation. Look at these 3 sub-hunters here way off the coast of Orlando. So something is definitely going on here off of Florida, and I want to remind you that there's been a nationwide blackout in Cuba. Okay, Cuba lost all of their power, and as far as I know, they still don't have any power, and that could have potentially been some kind of a cyber attack or some kind of a CIA operation, okay, because we know that Cuba is a supporter of Russia. Russia did dock some of their subs at the port in Havana. So, very serious situation. Also, we had some interesting flights last night over Europe and in the Middle East. We had two British Eurofighter Typhoons escort an RC-135 rivet joint in the Black Sea. And usually, when this happens, Russia will dispatch their own fighter jets to follow the British RC-135. There were some instances where Russia even almost opened fire on one of these RC-135s. These are reconnaissance planes operated by the UK. There was one instance where two Russian fighter jets were about to launch missiles at one of these British RC-135s. This was like 2 years ago, but you can see that now the UK is using fighter jet escorts to escort these reconnaissance planes, okay? So this is very, very serious, guys. This is how a war could break out. Imagine if a Russian fighter jet engages these British fighter jets and they start shooting at each other and one of them goes down. That's how nuclear war can start, okay? But this is very serious. The fact that a British manned reconnaissance plane was flying in the Black Sea near Crimea. You can see here they were getting pretty close to Crimea and the fighter jets as well. And in addition to that, we had two Eurofighter Typhoons operated by Britain flying over Jordan earlier today and last night. Very interesting. Okay, they flew all the way up to the border of Syria, and reception was lost here. The flight tracker couldn't pick them up anymore. But that is very, very serious and very concerning, seeing those British fighter jets in Jordan and then also in the Black Sea. Also, another high priority reconnaissance plane patrolling the border of Finland and Russia, and also the Baltic countries along their border with Russia and Belarus. And also, this high priority reconnaissance plane was flying with its transponder turned off in northeastern Poland. You can see here that for a segment of its flight, there was no tracker turned on, okay, in northeastern Poland. So who knows where it was flying, but this is an RC-135 combat scent plane. The U.S. Air Force only has two of these planes, so if one of them is airborne somewhere, it means something very serious is going on. And you can see this one was flying in northeast Poland with its transponder turned off, and then it flew up to Finland here and was doing these loops back and forth dozens of times near St. Petersburg, Russia. And these planes have been flying around northern Poland, the Baltics, and Kaliningrad over the last month, almost every single night. So something is definitely brewing here. We have to keep an eye on this part of the world. And the homes of senior Iranian officials have been added to the targets of Israel's imminent retaliatory attack, according to Israeli Channel 14. So they're going to go after senior Iranian officials. We heard last night from Channel 14 that the nuclear sites are also part of the attack. And this update was sponsored by My Patriot Supply. Guys, My Patriot Supply has brought back their 25% discount on their 3-month emergency food supply. And to get the discount, you have to use the link preparewithNYPrepper.com. And the link is in the description below this video. And this 3-month emergency food supply has a 25-year shelf life with over 2,000 calories per day, all packed inside of 6 rugged water-resistant buckets. Free shipping is included. The normal price is $800. If you use the link, you'll only pay $600 for 3 months of food with free shipping. So use the link preparewithNYPrepper.com to get 25% off of the My Patriot Supply 3-month emergency food supply, and the link is in the description below this video. And the more that time goes on and we don't see a strike, the more likely it is that Israel is planning a large strike to take out the nuclear sites and to take out the leadership, because they need good intelligence and they need time to prepare, okay? Because Iran is going to respond back and launch missiles back. So they need to have their missile defenses and air defenses set up. We already have one THAAD system operational in Israel. There's apparently 2 more on their way. We have another U.S. aircraft carrier strike group, the Harry Truman strike group, heading to the Eastern Mediterranean. It's probably already there. So get prepared, guys, because I think it's going to happen. I think Israel is in a position now where they can go after the nuclear sites and the leadership. They may not get this opportunity again, so they're going to take advantage of it. They have a justification to do it now. And also, the U.S. did that demonstration strike on Yemen with their B-2 stealth bombers last week, taking out some bunkers. So that was a signal to Iran, listen, we can hit you just like we hit Yemen, okay? And I do believe that the U.S. B-2 stealth bombers will be a part of this strike on Iran. And the reason why is Iran's nuclear facilities are buried underground. And all it would take is probably 2 stealth bombers on maybe 1 or 2 bombing runs to be able to destroy all of Iran's major nuclear facilities, because each stealth bomber can carry 2 of the GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrators. And the GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrator, or MOP, has a 5,000-pound warhead, and it weighs 30,000 pounds, and it can penetrate as deep as 200 feet through solid rock, okay? So just one stealth bomber can carry 2 of those, and so you would just need probably 2 stealth bombers, maybe do 1 or 2 bombing runs, and that's 4 to 8 GBU-57s that can be deployed onto Iran, and that's roughly about the number of nuclear sites that Iran has, okay? So get prepared, guys. Things are escalating everywhere. And Iran declared an emergency alert in all government and non-governmental organizations in preparation for the expected Israeli attack. And Israeli Channel 13 reported that cabinet ministers in Israel were informed that a very significant attack in Iran will take place soon, and they will not be briefed in advance on its nature. Okay, so Israel trying to keep everything secret. They're not telling the U.S. what they're going to do. They're not telling their own cabinet ministers what they're going to do. It's literally just going to be Netanyahu and Yoav Gallant and the chief of staff, Herzi Halevi. They're probably the only guys that really know what's going to happen, okay? And it's good that they're doing that. And the Israeli Defense Force stated that 5 projectiles were launched from Lebanon at central Israel last night, with a majority being intercepted. 1 fell in an open area, resulting in no casualties. So this was last night. A bunch of alerts were going off for missiles towards Tel Aviv. Looks like Israel intercepted them. They were only 5 missiles. And the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, met in his office in Jerusalem with Secretary of State Anthony Blinken. So here's a picture of them sitting together today. Blinken probably trying to talk Netanyahu out of a full-scale strike, and I'm sure he's trying to extract details from him about the strike, so then later on the Biden administration can leak that information to Iran and other countries in the region, which is what they did when Israel was going to strike Nasrallah's compound, and right before they were going to invade southern Lebanon, the U.S. leaked out the information to various Middle Eastern countries. So Israel hopefully learned their lesson not to share details with the Biden administration, because they are leakers. And the Canadian frigate, the HMCS Vancouver, and the American destroyer USS Higgins sailed through the Taiwan Strait on Sunday, a week after China conducted snap blockade exercises off the coast of Taiwan. and live fire exercises are currently ongoing right now off of Taiwan. China is doing live fire exercises, guys. Okay, last week they did that snap blockade exercise where they surrounded Taiwan, and there were over 130 Chinese military warplanes involved in that exercise. And now they're doing this live fire exercise off the coast of Taiwan. And China's President Xi Jinping recently visited the Chinese nuclear forces and said that they need to prepare for war. So it looks like China's getting ready to go after Taiwan. And South Korea is now considering sending 155 millimeter artillery shells to Ukraine in response to North Korea sending thousands of soldiers to fight against Ukraine. South Korean media claimed on Monday that Seoul could send military and intelligence personnel to Ukraine after the North dispatched troops to support Russia in the war, according to Newsweek. The government and military of South Korea are reviewing a plan to send a number of appropriate personnel, including intelligence officers specialized in North Korea and experts in enemy tactics. Okay, so very smart move by South Korea. They're going to be sending some of their intelligence officers and personnel that know how North Korea fights to Ukraine, so Ukraine will understand North Korea's weapon systems and their tactics. Okay, so looks like South Korea is basically becoming a NATO partner now, and they're also going to be sending artillery shells to Ukraine. And the South Korean presidential office said it is possible to consider weapons support to Ukraine in a quote-unquote phased manner, according to Yonhap News. Okay, so South Korea considering a phased approach to sending weapons to Ukraine now. NATO has requested a briefing from South Korea on North Korea sending troops to Russia. South Korea will share its intel with NATO very soon. And John Healey, the British Defense Secretary, said it is very likely that a transfer of forces from North Korea to Russia has begun. South Korea summoned the Russian ambassador on Monday to criticize Pyongyang's decision to send thousands of soldiers to support Moscow's war in Ukraine, the foreign ministry said, calling for their immediate withdrawal. In Pyongyang's first such deployment overseas, about 1,500 North Korean Special Forces soldiers are already in Russia, acclimatizing and likely to head to the front lines after, Seoul's spy agency said Friday, with additional troops set to depart soon. Seoul expressed its grave concerns regarding North Korea's recent dispatch of troops to Russia and strongly urged the immediate withdrawal of North Korean forces. Vice Minister Kim Hong-kyun told Russian Ambassador Georgy Zinoviev. Seoul's spy agency released detailed satellite images showing the first batch of 1,500 North Korean special forces from the elite Storm Corps had arrived in Vladivostok on Russian military vessels. Any military cooperation between the two countries violates multiple Security Council resolutions, Kim said. Russian Ambassador Zinoviev stressed that cooperation between Russia and North Korea is not directed against the interest of South Korea's security, the embassy said in a statement. The Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov also said Monday that Moscow will continue developing this cooperation further. North Korea is our close neighbor and partner, and we develop relations in all areas, and it's our sovereign right, he told journalists in Moscow, while declining to comment on whether Russia is using North Korean troops. Also Monday, South Korea's President Yoon Suk-yeol spoke to NATO chief Mark Rutte, urging the alliance to take concrete countermeasures against growing Russia-North Korean cooperation. NATO, which has not yet confirmed the North Korean troop deployments, said that it would mark a significant escalation in the conflict. British Foreign Minister David Lammy, who was in Seoul on Monday, called Russia's actions reckless and illegal and added that London would work with Seoul to respond, according to Yoon's office. Seoul's spy agency said that between October 8th and 13th, North Korea transported its special forces to Russia via a Russian Navy transport ship, confirming the start of North Korea's military participation in Moscow's war in Ukraine. The special forces now stationed in Russian bases in the Far East are expected to be deployed to the front lines as soon as they complete acclimatization training. Okay, so very serious situation going on with North Korea sending thousands and thousands of troops to Russia to fight in Ukraine, and 1,500 of them being some of North Korea's elite Storm Corps. And Russia's foreign ministry on Tuesday said it summoned Germany's ambassador to protest a new NATO naval command center on the Baltic Sea. Germany on Monday inaugurated the center to boost defense readiness in the Baltic Sea region as Russia pursues its Ukraine offensive. The Russian ministry said it expressed a decisive protest to the ambassador over the creation of the center in Rostock. It said in a statement that in Washington, Brussels, and Berlin, they must realize that the expansion of NATO military infrastructure in former East Germany will have the most negative consequences. Moscow warned that this will not remain without a corresponding response from the Russian side. The foreign ministry also said the new center was a blatant breach of the Treaty on the Reunification of Germany in 1990 that said no foreign armed forces would be deployed in the area. The center in the port city of Rostock will be led by a German admiral and manned by staff from 11 other NATO countries. It will aim to coordinate naval activities in the region and provide NATO with a maritime situation picture in the Baltic Sea region around the clock, according to the German Defense Forces. So very, very interesting. Okay, Russia claiming that they're violating this treaty on the reunification of Germany in 1990. It's interesting, their choice of words. They're calling it East Germany. It's like they're still stuck in the Soviet Union days. I told you guys many, many times that the Cold War basically never ended. Okay, the leaders of Russia still believe that we are in the Cold War, even though we don't, but they do, okay? So very serious situation there. NATO setting up this monitoring station on the Baltic Sea in East Germany. Here we have a picture of hundreds of Polish infantry fighting vehicles and tanks heading to Lithuania. This was taken recently, I think yesterday or the day before, some kind of a massive exercise in Lithuania. I don't think it's an exercise. I think it's a forward deployment, okay, being disguised as an exercise. They're moving this equipment there to Lithuania because they have credible intelligence that Russia will be attacking Lithuania soon, along with Belarus. And here's another picture of one of the Polish tankers here. You can see the Polish flag. So they're sending their forces to Lithuania, okay, some of their best infantry fighting vehicles, okay, these are the Rosomak infantry fighting vehicles. These are domestically produced in Poland, and it's the best that they have, so they wouldn't be sending the best equipment they have to Lithuania for no reason. But that's the latest breaking news that I have. I do have my 24/7 stream live right now, so you can listen to the nuclear attack options, and you can hang out in there and exchange information with other like-minded people. Follow me on Telegram and Twitter. The links to my Telegram and Twitter are in the description below this video. I will be back later on tonight, either with another video update, or I might go into the 24/7 stream and update you guys there. Also, I'm going to be going live on the Daily Excellence channel tonight from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern Time. That's Daily Excellence. So check him out. I've done streams on his channel before. Great guy. He's a friend of mine. And until next time, take care. God bless. And don't forget the 3 Ps. Prepare, practice, and persevere.